happy October season. Happy spooky season. Even though it's still September. Fun times. Fun times. But today, since, I don't know, some of you may already have these plans for your future. Some of you may already be thinking of this, but it is the time frame to start doing our college applications because it's almost November. We're only going to have like a month away. So if you're thinking private schools, or if you're especially thinking of maybe scholarships for those private schools, early action, early decision, anything along those lines, now's the time to start working on those applications, because before you know it, this month is going to go by in the blink of an eye. So many things are going to be due. So now's the time to start walking through, learning about the different components and phases of these applications. And just a little friendly reminder, if you are an underclassman, feel free to message Andres in case you weren't able to get into your appropriate room. If not, and you're a senior, then, you know, fun times, party. Let's get into it. So to start it off, let's reiterate, because a little recap never hurts anyone, right? It's like a little test prep or a little cheat sheet. Let's see. Actually, let me show you guys what we have for you guys. This is Misty Copeland article. But within your email, you should have had this lovely packet. If you get a little lost or if it seems like a little too much for you, this packet is great because it reiterates or re-emphasizes the components of what we're talking about, such as the different types of admission deadlines, all that fun stuff. Your own little nifty handout to help keep track of private school applications, what school you're thinking of, what deadline you should be considering, what application system it is on, whether it requires the supplements, no supplements, teachers, letters of rec, who those teachers are, all those nifty things to help you keep track and make sure you're turning in everything when it comes to those private institutions, because, you know, why not take the opportunity? I love this handout because it really just covers and goes over the topics that we're talking about today, which is those applications, what steps you have to kind of go through, as well as all the kind of requirements and components from evaluations, transcripts, mid-year reports, when do you have to send those in, whether you have to do interviews. It even covers a little bit about supplements for visual performing arts, which is a fun little nifty thing. If that is something that you're passionate about, we'd love to help you out with that. Then it just gives you little handouts and tips on how to fill out the Common App. That's the one that we're going to be highlighting the most because I like it the best, because a lot of institutions already are partners with the Common App. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop. You can do a whole bunch of different schools on just one little system, which I'll talk a little bit about. But it gives you what information you'll need, what you'll need to input, some activities that you want to put into your application, high school details so that you are a little bit more aware when it comes to filling out your applications, your counselor, and of course, little tips and tricks for letters of recommendations, resume, all that fun stuff, a little bit about FERPA and just waiving that right, what it means, and of course, your essays. So fun times. And then this other little handout with some of the other things within your email is just a nice little application dictionary. It's just giving you advice, not advice, defining different types of terms to help you understand what it is that they're asking about. Like CBO is a community-based organization, just like the Boys and Girls Club Los Angeles Harbor. So if you ever see an option for CBO or anything like that, just know that we are an option. Citizenship, co-ed, all sorts of different things that if you ever have questions on what they're talking about or what this kind of means, it's all on here to help you kind of understand and what it kind of looks like, from mid-year reports, midterm reports, recommenders, optional program, all that fun stuff. Super, super fun. Party, party, party. But if not, let's get back to this. Let me make sure that I'm sharing the appropriate thing, because for some reason I am doubting myself today, but now I have confidence. Is it working? Yay! Applying to privates. So if we don't remember from when we were doing Why So Selective, nice little refresher. When it comes to private schools admissions, you have four different types of admissions deadlines. That's what makes private schools a little bit unique, why we have that handout that I just showed you a little bit earlier on the different deadlines, because it all depends on what date you're considering applying to those schools. You have the regular decision, which all the applications are due that day. You have your rolling admissions, which meaning that a school is going to accept applications year round. So a nice example of that is like Marymount California University. A nice other little example is like Arizona State University, the local option, which is in downtown LA. Those are always on rolling admissions. Then you have early action. So early action is one of the biggest deadlines that we're talking about today and why we're doing this walkthrough today, because usually that deadline is between November 15th, November 1st. It's right around the corner, right? We're going to go through the 4 weeks of October. We're going to be doing all sorts of applications and we want to start getting this work done. Why does early action work? Why is it something that, if you're really passionate about a school, that's something that you should consider. One of the biggest perks is that the fact that you're competing in a smaller application pool. What does that really mean? Well, let's compare it to a pool, or let's compare it to the ocean and a little lake, right? An ocean, huge, right? You go to the beach, ocean's huge. You go to a lake or a pool, it's something a little bit more condensed. It's a lot easier to understand what your surrounding is and what it kind of looks like. That's what happens when you're applying early, when you're doing early action. You're in a smaller pool competing against less people, so it's a little bit easier for you to stand out, especially if you've done something interesting or if you're really passionate or polished that application, you can really shine. Now, is it a little bit more competitive? Yes, because you're competing against a lot of other people that are on that kind of same wavelength. But, that's a nice little type of competition. If all of you guys are on the same wavelength, then, you're going against students that, are thinking similar like you. So now's the time to really stand out and showcase, especially when it comes to your personal statements or your activities, to really showcase who you are and what you can add to the institutions. The other version of that decision, so if any of you guys are doing Posse or maybe like QuestBridge, which was due yesterday, is early decision. That's a binding contract. You're applying early, November 1st, November 15th deadline. The only caveat to it is the fact that once the admissions decision comes out, so if let's say they accept you, you are committed to going to that institution. So that's really a school if you're super passionate about, or if you're like, that's my dream school, that's the school I want to go to. If you say NYU is a school that I've always dreamt of going to, I should do early decision so I can seal the deal with my admissions application. The only way you can kind of get out of the contract is again for financial aid reasons. But if you're doing Posse, QuestBridge, then, it works to your favor. You can help get all that kind of paid. When it comes to early action, it's a little bit better. One of the biggest perks that I'll probably say, USC, because USC has a December 1st deadline, that's in consideration for scholarships. So that's you applying early, so during that early action, to receive an admissions response earlier to get into the school. The nice perk about that is that you also are in more considerations for scholarships and you kind of hear your award a little bit faster, a little bit earlier. So that's the perk when you're applying early. Not only is it a smaller competition pool, but you're going to hear back earlier. You're going to hear more information, more details, more types of information from your institution. So huge benefits, huge perks. Then of course, how do you remember all these dates, deadlines? I know it's like too many. But as Ms. Karina mentioned last week, within all of our sites, we do have a binder that has all the dates and deadlines for schools that are on the Common App and what dates and what types of applications they accept. Nice little way to read it. So if we were to look at Agnes College, they have an early decision deadline of November 1st. They have an early action deadline of November 15th. And they have a regular early one for January 15th. And of course, then they also have rolling admissions after those early ones until March 15th. So they will be accepting applications year-round until March 15th after past that deadline. If you look at another school like American University, again, early decision, November 15th. Regular decision or rolling admission decision is going to be January 15th. So that's how it kind of looks like, and it kind of gives you that information. It also tells you whether they accept tests, don't require a test, need the essay, don't need the essay, all that fun information, which you can find at all of our sites. Plus, it's in your binders. So let's recap how these applications work and how they're a little bit different in comparison to, let's say, our CSU, or how they're similar or a little different in terms to our UC applications. So because private schools are known for being a little bit more selective, or in consideration being highly selective, they take into account a lot more information and take into account a lot more about yourself. So they're looking heavily not only at your academics, and one of the biggest differences between UC or CSU is that you often hear us say UC CSU GPA, right? You often hear us say that, like, oh, what's your UC CSU GPA? Let's calculate it. Let's figure it out. Let's look at your transcript. When it comes to private schools, they want to see the whole story of your growth and your journey. That means that they're taking into account everything from ninth grade to your start of high school to the end of high school. So that's you looking at your overall total GPA. Outside of that, they're looking at your extracurricular activities, they're looking at your personality, they're looking at your interest. One of the biggest things that I'll say, we said last week, is that it's about quality, not the quantity. It's not about taking 1,000 different types of activities. It's not about doing A, B, and C and showing up for an hour to each or showing up once to those events. It's about showing up consistently, showing up growth, developing, being active within those activities. So if you're really passionate about the environment, going to that Interact Club, maybe becoming a leadership, maybe going in and participating as president, treasurer, really kind of taking ownership and letting that passion develop and grow. The other component to it is your personal statement. So last week we talked about PIQs, right? The way the personal statement differs is that instead of your 350 words, you now have 600 words. So you have a lot of time to really tell your story and showcase who you are or showcase how you're kind of feeling. You only have to do one personal statement for the Common App. So it's just one essay, but it needs to be a very strong essay because that essay is the foundation for schools to really get to know you. Outside of that, you have the addition of letters of recommendations. Well, on the Common App, it automatically is going to ask you for letters of recommendations for either teachers, counselors, for sure your counselor to add information about you. But it's there to help kind of seal the deal and help kind of tie everything together when it comes to understanding and stating whether or not what you put in your application relates together, whether it really tells the story. And it's the job of your recommender, whether it's ourselves, a teacher, your counselor, to really be able to seal the deal and say, like, yes, the student has the capabilities to succeed at your institutions. Now, if you're applying to a really selective school, let's say like an Ivy League school, or let's say to a school that considers themselves a no-loan school, so they really want to support students financially, you may have the additional advantage of doing interviews. Even having an email or over the mail interviews, one of the biggest perks of that, like I said, because it's all about getting to know you, right? It's all about understanding who you are and seeing if you're the best fit for their campus. That's the goal. Either have the alumni interview, have whoever is interviewing you, whether it's the admissions, to be able to go back and tell admissions like, oh, I could really see the student fitting into our campus. I could really see Karina being so active at Northwestern University. She's so awesome. She's so into it. She has a big heart for Hispanic heritage and cultural activities. We need that vibe at our school. Or it could go, unfortunately, in the wrong way and say like, oh, they didn't really talk. They didn't really showcase what they wanted to do. They didn't really tell me anything about themselves that I didn't know from the application. So I'm a little on the fence. But that's kind of the perk, because the goal is, you know, it's like a little matching system. It's like a little dating system, right? You want to make sure that it all kind of mixes together because it's a 4-year relationship. So not only the schools want to make sure that it's matching, but also you. Fun times, right? Now, since we recap that, what are the different types of application systems, or how can we apply, right? How can we apply to these institutions? There's 3 different formats. We have the Common App, the Coalition application, and the Independent University application. The Independent University application is not something that you'll see as common. A lot of schools have that option, but a lot of schools will also partner up with the Common App or the Coalition app. There are only rare few amount of schools like Georgetown University that'll say, you know what, I want you to apply directly with our school. You need to make the account with our school. You need to apply with us to apply to our institution because we're going to ask all the proper information to really get the feel and the vibe to see if we are a perfect match for attending for Georgetown. The other 2 application systems are a little bit more streamlined. So one of the perks about it is that you're able to fill out a complete application and submit it to multiple institutions at a time. The differences between the 2, or what makes them so unique, is the fact that it gives schools the opportunity to ask additional questions, to ask supplements, to be able to learn a little bit more about you. Okay, I like all the generic information of this application, but I want to know more about my student, such as USC, Northwestern, any of those institutions. we're going to ask for a supplement. We're going to ask these students to write something a little bit interesting, write something a little bit more about themselves so that we can really understand where they're coming from, understand their personality, understand it to see if this is really the best fit for us or if this is the best fit that we can kind of do together. The differences between the two, or what makes them kind of different, is the amount of schools, right? When you're thinking of Common App, Common App has been here for numerous amounts of years and has been able to build a lot of partnerships with schools. It has over 800 schools listed on the Common App application that you can kind of apply to, you can kind of look at, and that you can kind of learn a little bit more information about. When you look at the Coalition app, it only has about 132 partner schools. So it doesn't have as many opportunities or many different schools. When you think about the accounts, or kind of helps with it, with the Common App, you have the ability to kind of share that account with a teacher, Boys and Girls Club representative, and we're able to keep track and monitor your progress. On the Coalition app, you have the opportunity to have a locker. And what that digital locker kind of is, and what makes it a little bit unique to the Coalition app, is the fact that you're able to just upload materials. So it makes things a little bit easier for you to be able to upload a resume, to be able to upload your essays, to be able to have anything that really showcases who you are or you feel is crucial to yourself. You can upload it to your locker and schools are able to see it. So you're not really limited on what the school's kind of looking for. You are able to add more contextual information. If you compare it to the Common App, you're limited on the amount of activities. You're limited on the amount of information you can put, versus the Coalition, you can upload as much as you want to put. Something a little bit interesting to it. When it comes to fee waivers, for the Coalition app, you can apply to as many schools as possible as long as you qualify for the fee waivers. As soon as you put in your information, it'll tell you, these are all the schools you can apply to for free. Have at it, feel free to apply to as many. When it comes to the Common App, similar concept, but you do have a max of 20 schools, right? So you only are able to do up to 20 schools that you can list on your Common App and submit that Common application for. So you may ask yourself, what's the main difference? How does it work? The main difference that I can kind of best put it is that when you're thinking of Common App and you're thinking of applying to a lot of schools, or a lot of schools that say the Common App or have it as an option, do the Common App. The Common App is a lot more streamlined. The Common App is a little bit more user-friendly. It's been around for a long time, and it has those great connections with those partner schools. Common App is just a little bit more user-friendly, honestly, in my opinion. You can kind of work with it a little bit more. When it comes to Coalition, if you're thinking more so about like financial aid, scholarships, the whole point of the Coalition app is that it's to support students of color, underrepresented students that didn't have as much access to maybe higher education. They came together to make it easier for students to really showcase themselves, to really connect with it. If you have a few schools on the Common App, on the Coalition app, if you have, maybe you're really looking at financial sustainability, maybe you want to look at the Coalition app, because a lot of the schools that are listed on the Coalition are schools that are considering full need financial aid packages, full merit need, full support for students. Even some of the Ivy Leagues are actually only on the Coalition, only on the Common App, so that's also something to consider. But that's the main difference between the two. If you're thinking Common App, you have a lot of variety and you can apply to multiple schools at one time. So it makes it easy, makes it very accessible. The Coalition, few schools, but a lot of those schools are there to support financial aid financially. And of most schools that are on the Coalition are also on the Common App. So if you really ask me which one you should do, my personal preference and the one that we're going to show you is the Common App, because again, very streamlined, a lot of schools, a lot of options, and it's just a little bit more user-friendly, a little bit easier to work with, versus the Coalition. It can get a little messy to kind of understand, but again, if money is a huge factor, then maybe that's the best application for you. And feel free to talk to any one of your case managers so that we can dive a little bit deeper with you and to help figure out which platform might be better for you. But when in doubt, or if you can, I always recommend Common App. It's just going to make your life so much easier, and it's just going to be so much more fun. So with that being said, any questions before we start walking through the Common application? Feel free to let us know in the chat, let any of your case managers know.
No, just thank you for clarifying and exposing him to another option.
Awesome. All right, then let's get started into our Common App. Yay. Is my link working? Perfect. So this is the common application. Let me drop it right now in the chat so that you guys can all pull it up right now. Super, super fun. Super, super resourceful. Oh, it's already in there. So you know there's the right website because you can see the face, it's talking about your future, it's talking about what you can do. There's a great application if you have younger siblings that they can also kind of start exploring and start kind of going for. So you want to go straight to start your application. And we are first year students, right? We're first year students applying to college. That's what we're thinking. That's what we're trying to go for. So it's going to ask you to put in your email address. So let me do my Boys and Girls Club one. A password, if you noticed, at least one special character. So very similar to the trend across both UC, CSU app, very similar passwords that they'll ask you to put one special character. I'll do this password. Oh, it's too short. You know? Fun. Let me retype. '21. Fun. Ooh, my comment app froze. Oh, there it is. So password. Ooh. Wonder why it's freezing on me. That's not good. Look at it go. Let's see. But besides the password, it's going to ask you if you're in a European nation. No, we are not in a European nation. And it's going to ask you to put in your address. So where you live within the US, so your actual address, as well as your email so that they can contact you and communicate with you. Part of the perks is that if you're interested in a school, they may start sending you, nice little brochures, nice little things to be able to kind of explore and check it out a little bit more. Let's see if it works this time. Weird. Oh, that's what it was. I'm not smart. I figured it out. Ooh. So it's gonna ask for my first name, my last name, my phone number. Let me do the Boys and Girls Club one. 310, 51, 5232. My date of birth, fun times. And this is where a lot of students usually get a little bit tricky. So address, right? Or it's our region. Let me do our Boys and Girls Club address. So it needs to be something that's in the drop-down menu. So West 5th, ooh, 5th Street, San Pedro. There it is. If it's not coming up in the drop-down menu, you'll have to do, I don't see my address in this list. Your address should pop up from the drop-down menu, or else it will not let you continue on and it will not let you create that account. So that's a big thing. And this is what I was just mentioning earlier, European nations. No, we are not based in a European nation. One of the fun facts about the Common Application is that you can apply to some of those international schools. So if that's something you're considering or something you'd like to do, awesome, awesome, awesome. We are going to be applying to college right now for 2021-2022 school year. Please share the following information. Yes, Common App will communicate with you text phone. Yes, then you hit agree, and it's going to create your account. I already created one, so let me log into my Common App account. So let me sign in. Once you have your account and you click sign in, so if you guys are already at that stage, you're going to always have to do first year student, put in your email address. I do this one. Your password. And it's going to ask you, since this is my account that I've always used, it's going to ask me, what are you applying for? I'm applying as a first year student. I'm going to continue that. I'm going to keep my colleges. Continue. Is Port of Los Angeles High School my current school? Still no. I agree to the terms. And this is the beautiful Common Application. So one of the very first things you're going to go to is the college search. The beautiful thing about this college search is that you can find institutions, private schools anywhere within the nation. So if you want to stay in California, maybe it'll help if I spell California correctly. It's going to show you all of the private schools here within California that are listed on the common application, from Marymount, California, Mount St. Mary's, like we mentioned earlier, as a great institution if you're interested in nursing, Southern California Institute of Architecture, Caltech, California College of the Arts, California University in Pennsylvania. I'm gonna add, let's say this year I'm really passionate about nursing, so I'm gonna add St. Mary's College of California and check that out. Once you add a school, or if you hit a little check mark, or let's say you're a little unsure of a school, you can click on it and it's gonna show you more information. How to contact the admissions office, the website. You can take a virtual tour. You can do the college website, go to their social medias to check it out. It's going to tell you the admissions format, so they're rolling admissions, so they're accepting applications year round. How much the application fee is, although if you do have or qualify for fee waivers from the SAT or ACT, that fee can be waived, so 100% awesome. It's going to tell you whether or not you're required to do SAT, ACT, course grades, types of reports, evaluations / as recommendations or letters of rec that are required, 5 optional, none are required. If it has any supplements, college questions, all of that. And if you're down for the school, if you're like, oh my gosh, yes, this sounds perfect for me, add to your colleges. It's as simple as that. Just like Big Future, where you're able to start adding colleges, the same thing kind of happens when it comes to the Common App. Then, to check out how you're doing, or once you've added your colleges, you can go to the My Colleges tab and check on the status of your application for each one. Tells you a little bit more or reminds you about that information for the school. You can check on to see if your application is complete, whether you have to review, submit your common application. It'll have little check marks, more information on the schools, whether it has a supplement. So this is my favorite place once you start adding schools to help you see whether it has supplements. Supplements, just as a little reminder, let me go to one of my favorite supplements, is a school's opportunity to kind of get to know you a little bit more and kind of understand you a little bit more. The perks or the interesting thing about the Common App is that it's 2 kind of separate things. If your school asks for a supplement, you have to submit that independently of the Common App. So let me clarify that a little bit more. The way this works is that you have a wonderful common application, right? This is your foundational application that you can submit to every institution. Every institution that you have listed on your college, every institution that you're thinking of applying to, you have to do a general common app. That's how the schools are going to start learning a little bit more about you and kind of start understanding you a little bit more. Now, if an institution wants to gain more information about you, that's when the supplements come in. You have to both submit your common application and your supplement in order to have your full application reviewed by your institution. It's always by the deadline upon which you're doing it. So if you see for University of Chicago, early decision, or if I'm doing regular decision by January 4th. And each supplement's going to be different. So one of the favorite ones to always pull out is University of Chicago because they're always just very interesting. So even this one question, what if the moon were made of cheese or Neptune made of soap? Pick a celestial object, reimagine its material composition, and explore the implications. Feel free to explore the realms of physics, philosophy, fantasy. The sky is the limit. That is your prompt in which you are writing or answering. You have multiple different options, and each supplement is going to be a little bit different. It could be things as interesting as understanding the way your brain kind of works and how you kind of think critically. Or it could be things like, what do you plan on doing within our institution? That's always a favorite one. What's something that you're really passionate about, or what's something that you want to accomplish at our institution? That's something that you'll see common in a lot of supplements because, you know, like I said, it's like a little bit matching. It's like a little 4-year relationship. So they want to understand or make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. It's really testing to see if you've done the research, if you've done the knowledge, if you've really kind of dive deep and really understand what this institution looks like to see if you can make that impact, to really paint the picture that you can be on campus. Another nice one that I like is the USC one, because this one's really fun, is that it'll ask you different things, such as cross-disciplinary education, being able to mix and match different types of essays that are 250 word free responses, to even something a little bit more fun, saying, describe yourself in 3 words. First word, second word, third word. What's your favorite snack? What's the best movie of all time? What's your dream job? If your life had a theme song, what would it be? What's your theme song? What TV shows do you binge watch? So the supplements are really fun kind of things to kind of interact and mingle. And it's going to depend on the institutions that you add or that you can see. A nice little thing to always look at is your dashboard, of course, because it shows you what your status is. It can show you more details, what you still need to submit, what you still need to do, what's still in progress, what you still have to kind of do, right? So that's how the website kind of works out as a whole, so that you guys kind of know how to move around, work within the system to kind of see it out. Your dashboard's probably going to be one of your best friends once you added your colleges, because it's going to help you keep track of your progress and help you keep track of how you're doing on the application. Once you're ready to start and you've gathered all your materials, such as your transcript, your school information, such as the things that are in the packet, so the little handouts, once you've gathered all the information, then we can start going into the Common App. Like in every institution, like in every school, it's always going to start off with your profile. So understanding your basic information about you. So that's going to be your first name. So as you can see, here's my first name. I chose Omar because that's who I am. For my Common application, I'm Omar. No middle name. If you have any suffix, so that's if you're a junior, senior, if I was Omar the third or Eddie the third, Eddie the fourth. If I go by different names, so let's say I prefer to go by Eddie, that's my opportunity to put it in. I put it in now. Nice little new thing is that they're asking about pronouns. How do you define yourself? Those are our pronouns. Have I used any other names? No, I haven't used any other names. No legal name change or anything like that. Your gender. And of course, your birthday, right? So it's all kind of general information to kind of learn a little bit more about you, right? Then it's your permanent address. So where do I live? That's not my house address. I put a random address. So whoever you go to, I don't know whose that's going to be. If you have an alternate mailing address, beautiful, right? You can change it, mix it up. It should be the exact same one that you put when you signed up your account. It should automatically pop up. It should already be there because we put it into our account. Then our contact details. Make sure that we're using information that's correct. Make sure that we're using information that schools can actually access us. One of the interesting things is that as you guys are now going into things, I know a lot of us are not fans of answering unknown numbers or block numbers. Unfortunately, it's not going to pop up and say, hey, USC is calling you. Hey, University of Wisconsin is calling you. It's just going to pop up as a number. So as you start doing these applications, applying to jobs, things like that, you're going to have to start answering those numbers that maybe you don't know what they are. That way they can best get a hold of you or best reach out to you, especially if they're trying to do an interview, anything like that. This is how they're going to get a hold of you. So making sure that number is correct. If you have an alternate phone number, so maybe another home phone number, another cell phone, that's what you would like to put in. Your demographics information, so that's talking about your gender again, whether you're part of the U.S. Armed Force, whether you define yourself as Hispanic or Latino, what part or what ethnic background do you consider yourself? I'm actually just Central American, but Omar is both Central American and Mexican, because why not? Something fun. And then it's going to ask you, is this complete to as best as your satisfaction? Yes. If, anything else I wanted to add or showcase. Number of languages that you speak. So whether it's 2 languages, 1 languages, 5 languages. If you're speaking 5 languages, that's amazing. Where do you speak those languages? Your geography / nationality. So where was I born? I was born in the US. City, Torrance. State of birth. I was born in California. Number of years that I've lived in the US. Well, if I was born here, I'll do however old I am, whether I'm a citizen. And then your social security, FAFSA. If you have it, you can put it in. If you don't, not required. The only things that are required are things with a red star. The more information you put though, the more support or contacts you could add to your application. But in terms of social security or anything like that, not a requirement. You don't have to put it in. Totally fine, totally fine. And then my favorite part, Common App fee waivers. Our member colleges want to make sure that the application fees do not pose a barrier for any student who wishes to apply for admissions. Perfect. That sounds like me. Do I qualify for a fee waiver? Do I want to see if I qualify? I'm gonna put yes. And if you received any SAT or ACT fee waivers, automatically. If you are enrolled in the free or reduced price lunch program, fee waivers. If your annual income falls below that, so that should mean that you should be enrolled in the free reduced price lunch, perfect. Public assistance, if your family receives food stamps, SNAP, anything like that, perfect thing. WIC, anything like that. Any of these that if they apply to you, feel free to check all that apply. And it's gonna ask you for your signature, in which you are just going to type it in. I know my name was Omar, I forgot what last name I put, but you put your name or what it is. And then if you would like to partner with Strive, which is a virtual mentoring option, if you would like to try it out, feel free for you. It's like an additional support, like another college bound program. If you would like to receive information, you could put no. More information never hurts you, so you could put a yes. We're just gonna send you emails about opportunities and just reminders of dates and deadlines, just like we do. And it's gonna ask you about your family. So fun. All contexts. So knowing your parents' marital status, with whom do you live with? Both parents, single parent, divorced, separated, legal guardian, a ward of the court. You have those different options. Same thing here. If they're separated, never married. My parents were actually never married. Who do you live with? Both parents. Do I wish to live any step parents? No, I don't have any step parents. Do I have any children? No, no children. No. It's going to ask you about your parent one, mother, father, whoever you want to put. Or if you don't really have as much information about that parent, there you have the option to have a limited information. So let's say you don't really have a relationship with either mom or dad or whatever that situation is. You do have the opportunity to showcase it on your application. Are they living, not living? Do they have, what's their prefix, Mr., Mrs.? Are they married? Then that person's name. If they have a suffix, again, junior, senior. A preferred email so that they can outreach or communicate about any information about college. A preferred mobile phone number, again, to contact in case anything. And then of course, occupation details. That's again, all of this is building and earning more context about, where you're coming from, what kind of lifestyle you're coming in, and just painting the picture so whoever's looking at your application knows, oh, this is what the area they were kind of living in was like. This is the context of how many schools or opportunities they have option. Oh, they lived somewhere so far away from the school they're attending. Why was that? Or why did they go? Or are they pushing themselves for better educational opportunities? It's kind of building that foundation to ask those questions and learn a little bit more. Is your parent currently employed, retired? Right now, not employed at any college or university. And then name of the current employer. And it's going to be the same thing for parent 2. You just do parent 2. If you don't have a parent 2, then you can just do I don't have another parent to list, and it'll close out. Same thing all over again for parent 2, and then it's going to ask you about your siblings. So how many live in your household? Whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever that is. And it's going to ask you for their name and their age. Name and age. Fun. And then it's going into something a little bit more interesting, your education. So what school have you most recently looked into? If you do change or if you search it up, you can search by high school name. If you know your school's CEB code, which is those codes we have hanging within our college centers. So for example, like the one for POLAs is 054055, and automatically POLAs pops up. So you can automatically put it in. If not, you can always search up the school's name. So I'm gonna just put in my school, hit continue. When did I start school? For most of us, we should have started back in, 2018. And usually we start in August. So I'll help keep track of that. Is this a boarding school? No. Did you or will you graduate from this school? Yes, all of us should be graduating in June 2022. Gonna be exciting times. I'm excited. Did you or will you graduate early? Would you graduate late? Are you going to take a gap year? To better understand your situation, no change in progression. If we're planning on graduating on time, nothing will change. That's our expected graduation date. We're not graduating earlier, later, anything like that. So no change in progression. If you attended other secondary schools, so if I went to multiple schools, if I went to multiple high schools, if I started off at Baxter, but then Baxter unfortunately closed down, so then I have to go to Polis, this is where you would make that change, or you would say I went to another school. But if not, then it would just be 0. Have you attended any colleges or universities? If any of you have done our college classes, that means yes, you guys have attended a college or university. So at least one college, one university, whether it was dual enrollment with the high school, or did you do it directly by the college? Was it during your high school classes? Was it during that high school hours? Or did you go straight to the college and do that? For most of us, we should be doing some dual enrollment. When was our start date? We started, let's say, February. If you're not sure, you can always pull up your Harbor College unofficial transcript. Hopefully you've printed it out to put it in your file. If not, you can come talk to any one of us and we can help you gain access to that from your Harbor College portal. Whether your first class was in 2019, freshman year, or even if it's barely this year, it all is valid. And it's gonna ask you, when is your last college class? So if you're planning to do one next semester, planning to do one spring 2022, that's something that you want to make sure that you add or annotate. So, my last one will be June 2022. If you've earned any degrees with it, for those of you that go to HTPA, now's your chance to put it in. If you didn't earn a degree, then no stress. And it's going to ask you for your grades. The nice thing is that for the Common App, it can be a little bit easier for your grades. So it's asking for your graduating size. I believe right now Polis is at 248. Is that exact, decile, quantile? So that's the exact ranking that you currently have. If your school doesn't have the class rank yet, you can ask your college counselor, you can communicate with them to be able to add that ranking or to be able to give you that ranking information. I know some schools like to take it off because it kind of varies, but if you have it there, add it in. What is my GPA, weighted or unweighted? I always suggest that you do the weighted one because it's always, gonna reflect a little bit more because it's taking into account your honors, your AP, any classes that you kind of challenge yourself with. That's where the weighted kind of comes in and gives you that GPA boost. And what that GPA is on a scale of 4.0, 5, 6, 7. We are on a 4.0 scale, so all of us should be doing 4.0, and what that GPA looks like. And that will be located on your transcript. Again, weighted, not weighted. Continue. And it's going to ask you for your most current courses. So usually we should be taking at least 8 courses, things like that, or how many courses we are taking within both fall and spring semester for a whole year. We are on a semester system. So my course subject 1, I love putting, is other/elective. That's for our honors economics because we do government for our fall or spring semester, and then the other semester is economics, half semester. Whether it's an honors course, intensive, IB course, Regents, for most of us, a dual enrollment, a college prep course, an AP, advanced, accelerated, or a regular course, you have those options. It's just honors economics, that's the option at Polis. You can label in which semester you're doing it, first semester, second semester, or the full year. Again, economics, half a semester, half a year, it's only one semester. You can do it first semester, second semester. So let's say I did economics right now. Next semester I'll do government. So you can see that I put government as my second semester. Same thing with British literature. So at Polis, for example, or at all of you guys, you'll do one English class one semester, and you'll do a different English class second semester. So your elective or your literature class or your composition class. So at Polis, it's British literature one semester. My second semester, I'll do modern literature, English 12. And once you go into courses that are full year, like AP Calculus or regular calculus, statistics, whatever it is that you're taking, you have the opportunity to put full year because that's something you're taking both semesters, both first and second semester. And it's all the classes that you're planning on taking, whatever's on that transcript or when you pull out your class schedule, all that is what you want to put in for both spring and fall. Then it's going to ask you, do I wish to report any honors or achievements that I've received? So it's something that you'll see both on Common App, UC App, all the apps in between, whether it's awards or recognitions like Member of the Month for the Boys and Girls Club of Los Angeles Harbor. Club of the Los Angeles Harbor, Member of the Month. Let's say I got it for January. January 2020. When did you get it? What grade were you in? If that was January 2020, that was in 11th grade. What type of recognition? Was it just the school, state, national, perfect attendance award? That's also valid. You have the ability to list up to 5 different types of awards. Whether you got MVP, most valuable player. One cool little award is that if you're someone that has done multiple AP tests and has gotten at least 3s or higher on 3 of those tests, then you are considered an AP scholar. So that's a nice little award of when you received it is when you completed that 3rd test, or when you completed that 3rd AP test with that score of a 3 or higher, then you are considered an AP scholar. And that's a nationally recognized award. So if any of you guys have done a lot of AP tests and maybe aren't too sure whether you're an AP scholar or anything like that, feel free to check it out in your AP portal, or you can ask a case manager so that we could show you and print out your certificate, because that's an awesome achievement to say you're nationally recognized for being an AP scholar. Even if you do more AP tests besides the 3 and you just keep doing AP tests, pushing yourself, and you do well and you have distinction or with honors, or it kind of boost up to showcase, all the effort you're putting in. So you have a max of 5 different awards. Then it's going to ask you, are you a part of any community-based organizations? And the answer is yes. You guys are. You're part of the Boys and Girls Clubs. See? Who from the Boys and Girls Club do you work with? You can put ourselves, your coordinators, the Mrs. Yesenia, who is it that you work with or who is it that you deal with? So ordinarily, I would say put it in your coordinator and putting in their information. And then the fun one, career interest. What are you interested in doing? How far do you plan on going into your career? What is it that you'd like to do? So you can search up different opportunities. You can type it in. If I want to be a chef, I have the opportunity. How far do I want to go? I just want to get my, I could be undecided, or I just want to get my bachelor's degree in it, or whatever it is that you're interested in, whether clinical psychologist, and I want to go all the way to get my doctorate and PhD, because that's something that I want to really be passionate about and really showcase. This is your opportunity to say and communicate, this is what I'm passionate about, this is my goals, this is my plan, this is where I'm currently at and thinking for myself. If you're a little undecided, you can do that. If you know how far you want to go or what's the highest degree. If you don't know, undecided is fine, or other. If you know, go for it. We should at least be going for a bachelor's degree. But if not, what's the highest degree you're going for, feel free to put in and what that career interest is. And then testing. Remember, testing is optional, not required when it comes to admissions. But it's going to ask you, do you have any test scores that you would like to submit, whether it's AP, SAT, ACT? What test scores would you like to submit if you have any? I'm going to put yes because I had the AP Scholar Award, so I have AP test. And you choose which test you would like to submit. So let's just say I do my AP subject test. I'm able to continue. And you'll see my AP subject test will pop up, and you are able to put how many tests you've taken, how many tests you plan to take, how many tests are right there in the future. So date taken, it's just asking you for the month and the year, which you would see in your file if you have it. If not, you can pull out the report and we can show you how to pull it out from College Board to be able to see what scores you got when you took those tests and what scores came up. So you're able to put in and what test you're planning on taking in the future. So instead of May 2020, that should say May 2022. And what test I'm planning to take for AP Chemistry, AP Calculus, whatever test you're thinking. If you have SAT or ACT scores, same thing. Feel free to put them in. The more information, the better, because more information, more context, more understanding of who you are. Now, this is the fun part. So all of this was just basically using your College Bound file, using your College Bound application, using your transcript, using your interests. All that was what we were working on now. But now it's talking about your activities. So this is something that you either created with your academic resume or something that you're doing here. What they're asking for is things that could be from art, music, clubs, community engagement, family responsibilities. So if you have to take care of your siblings, have to take care of, do a lot of chores, have to take care of the dog, those are family responsibilities. That's also valid as an extracurricular activity. Sports, work, volunteering, other experiences that, mean a lot to you. Do you have any extracurricular activities to wish to report? And of course, all of you should say yes, because you guys are members of College Bound. So let's do this one, for example, what type of activity it is. You have many different opportunities from research, school spirits, theater, student governments, other club activity, work, theater, drama, religious, date, community service, career-oriented, academic. What positions you had. If you don't have a leadership position, then you can just do member. What's the name of the organization? So right here I have Career Bound, but let's change that to let's change that to Boys and Girls Club of LA Harbor College Bound Program. Yay. And a description. You only have 150 characters, so that's honestly nothing. But it helps to kind of really showcase or kind of let whoever's reviewing your application understand where you're coming from and what you kind of mean by that. And a great little example of that is describe the activity, something that you've been able to accomplish. So, let me start typing. The College Access Program that assists youth. Wow. Assist youth with resources for applications. Remember, I'm limited, so I can't go to details. So through this program, see, you're already limited. So one of the biggest pieces of advice is you need to be able to copy and paste this or be able to write it on a Word document. Hopefully all of you guys should have already opened up a Google Doc and started your academic resume to just have all of this information so that you can copy and paste this. For here, it's a little bit shorter. Thankfully, on your UC application, it's a little bit longer, so you have more information to put. But you need to be really concise, because not only do you have to talk about the program, but talk about what you've done, or talk about any recognitions. So for this one, I could condense it to a college access program that has helped me bridge the gap and understand different opportunities and the career that I'm interested in going to. I've been able to participate in weekly workshops, intensive case management, and so and so. And that's what I want to be able to write within this. So it's being able to be concise, but also to the point. How many years did you do it? Was it during the school year? Was it during school break? Was it an all-year activity? So I was a member of the Boys and Girls Club College Bound during the school year, or maybe if you've been here with us with a long time or through thick and thin, you've been here all year. How many hours a week do you spend? Well, you have at least one for workshops. And then if you are consistent with things like, case management or things like that, you meet with your case managers. We can do 2 to 3 to 4 hours a week, depending on what you're able to put in. Weeks in the year, if you're here with us, even during the summer, so that's at least 48. Just as an FYI, there's only 52 weeks in a year. If you're doing anything for a semester, that's at least 20 weeks. If you're doing it for both semesters, that's 40 weeks to help you kind of Plan it out for the future, and then it's going to ask you whether you consider doing this in the future. If you're part of College Bound, if you've been here not only since fall, spring, summer, you should be doing at least 48 weeks because we're here year round, with the exception of just a few holidays. And you can put in your activities. Keep going from things like community service, interact club, duration, activity 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh. And you can see that I'm capped out at 10. So it's 10 of your most important activities, 10 of your most important things that you've done within your high school career, and just talking about them and adding them so that to showcase for whoever's reading your application what you're interested in, what your passion is. Once you fill out this activity sections, then we're closing it out to the hardest part of the application. That is our writing. Who requires me to submit a writing? Everyone. Everyone does, because everyone wants to hear my personal essay because they want to get to know who I am. You have these as your options. Again, no more than 650 words to be able to write in your essay. It could be, some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that's so meaningful, they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, what is that? What's an obstacle that you've later, the lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, a setback, or failure. How did it affect you? What did you learn from this experience? It's very similar to one of the UC prompt questions. So if you want, you are able to expand on it, add up to those 650 words. Again, this is where you're able to really showcase who you are. Some schools ask for that information. Some schools will only ask just for your personal essay. Some schools will ask for the additional supplements, but all that is information to kind of seal the deal in showcasing who you are as a person. And of course, you have an additional comment section to be able to talk about how has COVID impacted you. Whether that's academically, family life, anything in between, how has COVID impacted you? What changes have affected you? And of course, any additional information that has come up or anything that you would like or think is missing from your application that you feel is really pertinent, with the exception of COVID, anything like that, anything else. And then depending on your institutions, some of them may request that you input your grades manually. So that's something that, before was a perk that the Common App would never ask you, but now, unfortunately, some schools will ask for it. That's literally you opening up with your transcript, and you're going to be inputting every single grade that you put in or that you received. So we're going to edit 9th grade, and you're going to put in your course. So what's the subject material? So things from like PE, physical education. What's the name of the course? Physical education 1 and A and B. Was it standard? Was it regular? Was it accelerated? Was it advanced? What did I get each semester? Semester 1, semester 2. What was my grade? Final grade. Is the final grade not available? And what school year? And you just kind of keep adding courses, what you do. For the final grade, it's the grade from your second semester. Okay. And that's you putting in everything from your transcript. So if I were to do POLAs, something that I'm missing, let's say, is English. POLAs, I did English 9, AB. If you are maybe at San Pedro or Banning, maybe you had honors English 9 AB. Was it advanced, accelerated, honors, regular honors? What grade did I get? Say I got an A, and an A. What's my final grade? An A. And your credits is how much you're getting. Each semester is worth 5 credits. So there's 5 credits, 5 credits. My total credits earned is 10. Same thing here, 5 credits, 5 credits. Total credits earned, 10. Perfect. And you go through grade by grade from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So that's essentially the Common App. Once you have everything complete, you'll be allowed to and asked to submit everything and say, review your application. I highly suggest that you guys come with us and join us on Saturday as we're going to continue and work on the common application so you are able to kind of get it done, get it reviewed, be able to see it. You can even preview your whole application and print it out so that we can look over it, make edits, make suggestions, which I suggest that you always do on all of your applications, because 9 times out of 10, we're going to catch a mistake. And once you're ready to submit, you hit the submit button and then it goes through. Sometimes, right? Any questions, comments, concerns, stressors? None so far? Awesome. And of course, you have your recommenders. You have this FERPA authorization because as you guys are turning 18, you guys are now responsible for your information. So that's saying that as your recommenders submit their letters of recommendation, that you do not have access to view what they wrote. It's always assumed, or it's always best practice to say, no, I don't want to be able to view it. Why? Because it shows that you have a lot of faith in what your recommenders write and what you believe. So I usually consistently waive your right. Why? Because it shows that you have good faith in your recommenders. And hopefully if you're choosing the right recommenders, that it's going to be. If you're choosing the right recommenders, that you have great faith that they're able to produce and great things for you. And with each institution, you can see invite recommenders, you can add that person, invite a counselor, invite another recommender, invite a teacher. Who would you like to write that letter of recommendation? And it'll tell you how many are required. You need 2 teachers' recommendations. You can have another recommendation, which is Boys and Girls Club advisor. And of course, for all of these institutions, you need your counselor. Why? Because your counselor has to be able to provide a school report and provide information on how, the types of AP courses, how people do on SAT, ACT, how many free reduced price lunch students come, how many students come from different areas. It's to provide more context. So that's why you always have to include your counselor to provide that information. And then once you submit or submit your Common App, making sure everything's correct, then all you have left to do is the supplement, which I showed you earlier, and you're all good. Easy peasy, right? Any questions so far? Comments, concerns, stressors? No? Fun times. Ooh. Yeah. FERPA is your Privacy Act, which essentially is protecting yourself, your grades, your records, any information like that, transcripts like that. So as you turn 18, it's no longer under your parents' control to be able to sign off or waive your right to be able to have access to grades and transcripts. It's now under you, which is why the application asks about the FERPA. If you want to waive your right to be able to see the applications or see the information or not, or see the recommendations, as well as allowing access to the institutions to see your transcript, have access to that, request your transcript, and so forth. It's now, once you turn 18, you're so much more responsible for yourself, right? But please make sure you guys join us on Saturday. We're going to be walking through the common application. We're going to be working on it. We're going to be opening Saturdays from 9 to 2. So feel free to come in on our sites. We're going to be raffling away fee waivers, all that type of stuff. So make sure you guys are there along with some nice food. But if you guys don't have any questions, or feel free to drop us in the chat or let us know, you guys are free to go. Have a lovely Wednesday night.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.